Recently, I heard about e-NABLE, which is an organization that provides prosthetics to people in need. I decided to make one of their designs today. I made the Phoenix V3 hand at size 130%. This is my setup for printing. It's a Creality CR10S, and I'm using PLA and PLA Plus filament. So here I have all my 3D printed parts laid out on a table, and they include the palm, the snap pins, the thermoforming mold, the arm guard, which will make up the wrist part of the hand, the proximals and distals, which are part of the fingers, and the tensioner blocks and pins. The palm was definitely the one that took the most time, with 11 hours to print, and this one took so many tries. The bottom, as you can see, is kind of gridded with lots of holes in it, and that just made it really hard to start the print. It just kept getting stringy and messed up, and so what I ended up doing was I printed a base layer first so that the gridded part could really get a steady ground on the bed of the printer, and this made it so that all the times when it was like flapping up and it wasn't really sturdy, it just got rid of all those problems, and it really printed nicely after that. Although the outside was practically perfect and it didn't have many flaws, the inside had some stringiness, but that should be okay since I'm going to be putting in some padding later and it shouldn't be noticeable. So another thing I printed was the thermoforming mold, and this is a tool that helps form the arm guard into a shape that looks like a wrist. And what's nice about this one is that I only need to print it once, and after I printed it, it can be used as many times as I need to. And for all future hands that I'm planning on printing, I can just keep on using this one as long as it's the same size that I'm going for. Snap pins were pretty quick and easy to print, and they're just going to be used to hold the fingers and the wrist together. The tensioner block is going to be used to feed the strings through so that when the user of the prosthetic flicks their wrist forward a bit, the fingers clench up and kind of make a fist. And these are the parts for the fingers. This was my first attempt at the arm guard that I printed for this hand, and as you can see, it's really stringy and it just didn't turn out very well. But it turns out after I already assembled it, the parts that didn't look too nice were actually going to be hidden, but I didn't know that at the time, so I just reprinted it. After I reprinted it though, it looked so much better, and I'm overall glad that I reprinted it. Finally, these are the tensioner pins that are going to go with the tensioner block. The first step is to assemble the fingers, so I did this by connecting the distals and proximals with a snap pin. The molding of the arm guard required pouring hot water over it and leaving it for about 15 seconds, and then molding it over the mold. Yay! Take that. Okay. Next, I added rubber bands to the finger joints. If I hadn't done this, the fingers would probably just wiggle around and have no real structure to it, so this helped kind of mimic the muscles in the fingers. Like I mentioned earlier, the foam padding is going to go inside the palm, and it ended up covering the stringiness that I had in my print. I had to use trial and error at first to get the right size of the foam, but now I can just use the template that I made and keep making the same perfect size. I added padding to the arm guard as well, and then I attached the entire thing to the palm using snap pins. For some reason, I completely forgot to record when I was attaching the strings, but basically what I did was I tied it off and fed it through the channels and different holes where the string was supposed to go, and tied it off at the tensioner block. Because I'm not an amputee myself, I didn't use the prosthetic in exactly the right way, but I had fun seeing what I could do with it. Thank you for watching.